he was once called a FOIA terrorist by the Pentagon spokesman because he has filed more FOIA requests than any other person in American history. He broke the Hillary Clinton email story just by sending in a FOIA request. Well, he revealed the location of the CIA's secret drone surveillance base in Baluchistan, Pakistan. And you know how he did it? The CIA, in the immediate aftermath of 9/11, created something called In-Q-Tel, which is a cutesy, play on Intel with Q from the James Bond movies in the middle. Like, I hope they didn't pay somebody to come up with that. But anyway, it's like the kind of famous story that the Tourism Board of Scotland spent $150,000 hiring a consulting firm to come up with a tourism slogan. And for $150,000, they came up with "Visit Scotland." It's true. Google it.
Well, that's the consulting class for you.
Yeah. So anyway, they came up with In-Q-Tel. In-Q-Tel's very first investment was not a lot. It was like, I can't remember if it's $1.5 million. I think it's $1.5 million to Palantir.
In like 2003, something like that?
2002, yeah. And now Palantir is $1 trillion company that makes most of its money contracting with the CIA. It's a publicly traded company. And everybody, listen, I subscribe to Barron's. Every week it's like, buy Palantir, buy Palantir, buy Palantir.
What do you think of their capabilities and what they're trying to do just right now?
The agency?
No, Palantir. Which is the agency.
Yeah, which kind of is the agency. I worry very much about it's even too weak to say encroachment on our civil liberties. I worry about the violation of our civil liberties very much. Mm-hmm. It is against the law for the CIA to spy on Americans, period. That's it. It's against the law. But they do every day. It's against the law, and it's actually a part of NSA's charter that they cannot spy on Americans. You cannot intercept the communications of Americans. And that's practically all they do, right? Where they had to build this new facility out in Utah in the desert that can hold every phone call, every text message, every email from every American for the next 500 years.
500 years?
Mm-hmm. 500 years. How about this? Even the FBI no longer has to get a warrant to take your communications, right? The metadata from your communications is for sale. All they have to do is call T-Mobile and say, hey, I want Julian Dorey's communications. Here's the $5,000 that you charge.
Hey guys, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It's a huge help. Thanks and enjoy the rest of the show.
That's the thing. What Palantir does is a whole nother level, and I want to stay with that for a second. But I've had Mike Yeagley, who I mentioned earlier, sitting in this chair twice in the past 2 months. And the way that he got back in the crosshairs of the government where they went, what the fuck, was he was working on amalgamating marketing data. And he realized what you could just buy publicly, legally. And so he bought a bunch of data in North Carolina around Fort Bragg and tracked a bunch of phones leaving Fort Bragg, going to a neighborhood about 45 minutes away that was a little bit higher income, meaning these are most likely special forces, tracked down the names of everyone who lived there, where they went, what they did, realized they were special forces, then watched them and charted them go across to Syria once every other month for 5 days to Lafarge Concrete Company or Lafarge Concrete Company, which was obviously a cover for some undercover operation they were doing.
Yeah.
And he went to the government and showed them, and he said, I did this in my bedroom. What do you think China's doing?
Jason Leopold, who is an investigative journalist for Bloomberg, formerly of Vice, BuzzFeed, the LA Times, absolutely brilliant journalist. He was once called a FOIA terrorist by the Pentagon spokesman because he has filed more FOIA requests than any other person in American history. He broke the Hillary Clinton email story just by sending in a FOIA request. Well, he revealed the location of the CIA's secret drone surveillance base in Baluchistan, Pakistan. And you know how he did it? He read somewhere that drones use a certain kind of aviation fuel. And so he just did a Freedom of Information Act request to the Pentagon for the locations of all of the deliveries of this aviation fuel. And like millions of dollars of fuel were going into this, desert base in southwestern Pakistan. This top secret base that's not top secret anymore because the Freedom of Information Act has told us so.
For all the smart guys in government who
Seriously.
are supposed to keep a secret and claim to be able to keep the secret and whatever, they literally write stuff in the modern metadata that someone at home can get.
That's it. That's right.
That's why it gets hard to certain secrets. I wonder, it gets hard to believe that they wouldn't be able to be uncovered in some ways, and that gets to some of the weirdest shit if you start to think about it.
Yeah.
But we got off. We're talking about the regular
Palantir.
public metadata right here, but Palantir themselves. I mean, that's a whole nother level.
Yeah.
So, what kinds of things right now are you most concerned about with what they're doing?
We don't really know a lot of what Palantir does. Most of it is classified, and even then, it's classified at the top secret level because it involves technology. And we know that they have massive contracts with the CIA. And it's not just the CIA. They work with DARPA. They work with the Pentagon writ large. They work with NSA. They're all over government now. They didn't even exist 20 years ago, practically.
That's a Peter Thiel company, too.
Yeah. That's right.
Very powerful guy.
Very powerful.
What do you think of the Alex Karp guy who runs it?
I did a little... I was hired by an interest group to do a little biographical mock-up of the two of them. And they're exactly the kind of guys that the CIA would want to be doing business with. They're conservatives. They are religious. They are extremely patriotic, but driven by profit.
Mm.
And they'll do as they're told, and they'll keep their mouths shut.
Karp is militarily, industrially conservative, but he's technically a Democrat.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think he never switched his party affiliation. Yeah.
He's like a little hard to put in a box with some things.
And he has said that in interviews where
Yeah.
party politics don't hold any interest for him.
Right.
Yeah. It's tough.
When you start talking about surveilling citizens, though, at like a protest you don't like or something like that,
With drones the size of a bumblebee or a wasp.
so
Yeah.
no one can even see it.
Yeah.
We're getting to the birds aren't real territory.
Very much. Very much. Yes, we are. Yes. It's frightening.
What about when they're a company that is contracted by CIA and for all intents and purposes created by CIA in the sense that they funded them? How about them working on other conflicts around the world, though? Isn't that like a conflict of interest?
For other countries?
Yes.
I would say it is, but they would probably argue that they've stovepiped everything and that there's no crossover. That if they're working on a CIA project, it's just these people in this box working on the CIA project. If they have an MI6 project, it's over here and never the two shall meet. But what about Abraxis Corporation? Here's another one. So right around the time that I came home from Athens in 2000, there was a kind of a wave of senior level retirements. And these were all pretty important guys, the head of European operations, the head of Near East operations, the head of domestic operations, whatever. And they decided to just create an LLC where they could go, smoke cigars and drink coffee and hang out and play pinochle all day and take a tax deduction. And so you got to show a gain in 2 out of 5 years in order to keep your LLC. So they put in for a couple what they call butts in seats contracts, where you just take anybody who's got a security clearance, put them in these seats, let them do data entry for 6 months, and then the contract's over and they all get fired. They all have 1099s anyway, so you don't care. Well, now they're like a, $20 billion company because at headquarters, I remember this happening at the time. They're like, oh, we have a real need for XYZ. And somebody says, what about Jack? Jack's got this Abraxis thing now. We know everybody. They're all friends of ours.
Greatest shell company of all time.
And then there you go.
Yeah.
And it was taken over once, twice, 3 times. It changed its name a couple times. I think it's still known as Abraxis, based in Tysons Corner, Virginia. These guys never expected to be billionaires. They were just looking for a tax deduction on their coffee and cigars.
Oh, that's the definition of finding money. It's like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Turned up.
I might as well take it.
Yeah. Ooh. Thank you guys for checking out this clip. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the like button on this video. It is a huge, huge help. And if you'd like to check out this clip's full podcast episode, that link is in the description below or right here. And finally, you can follow me on Instagram and X by using the links in my description below.